Whoa, this weighs exactly 69 kilograms. Yeah. Like that ever happens? That's just not how your brain works. Hey, I'm Jordan. Awesome to see you today. I'm here helping you craft that epic life. Today or any day. Let's talk about how to stop comparing yourself with others. First, let's talk about why is it so difficult to stop comparing yourself to others. I know you do it, I do it, everyone does it. It's okay. You probably already know the saying, you should never compare yourself to others. And yet, your brain happily ignores that and still compares yourself to other people. Why does that happen? There are a couple of reasons, but the most important one is obviously social media. And social media is a very big problem here because it shows us the highlight reel of someone else's life, of everyone else's life actually. And whenever we're looking at the highlight reel, it's very easy to perceive other people's lives as something that's only highlights, only the epic stuff is happening to them, no bad stuff is ever happening to like your favorite people. You're probably not going to highlight the 5 hours you spent in line in the DMV or the boring weekend at your parents' house, but you're going to share every second of that trip to the beach you had last week. And that summarizes social media in a nutshell. People show us who they want to be, not who they really are. And that's not a bad thing, but it is by no means something to measure yourself against. You're measuring yourself against something that's not real, against an illusion. And to top that off, whenever you log into social media, there is always someone who is succeeding. Maybe your favorite creator is not succeeding, but then someone else is succeeding and so on and so forth. So no matter how you feel or what kind of a day you're having, someone else is rocking their day and succeeding like way more than you do, or at least that's the perception you're left with, and that can have a lasting effect on your confidence. The second big problem with comparing yourself to others is called survivorship bias. In World War II, the army noticed that whenever a plane came back successfully, the wings were filled with holes. So they came to the logical conclusion that they need to reinforce the wings so they never get filled with holes again. And that was survivorship bias in action, because they only focused on the planes that did come back and they fully ignored the planes that didn't. The holes to the wings meant that the plane could still take damage and survive. Holes in other places meant imminent doom for the plane and the pilot, and those were the places that needed the most reinforcement, not the wings. But this is very difficult to see when the only surviving planes have heavy damage to the wings. The same goes for media. Every type of media likes to focus on the success stories, not the failures. So the only thing you're ever seeing is success stories of different people. And those success stories are not the whole picture. You're measuring yourself against a fraction of the actual picture of the real world. And that's not healthy as well. But this is so obvious. Why would my brain fall for such a stupid trick? And the answer is actually quite simple, but not really as negative as you might think. Your brain doesn't really deal that well with absolutes. You can't weight things precisely, you can't measure things precisely, and you probably found math pretty difficult at some point. And this is all because your brain uses relative values instead of absolute values. It works by comparison. Wow, this weighs exactly 12 kilograms. Anything above 10 kilograms is a little bit too heavy for me. Wow, this is heavy compared to the other things I remember lifting recently. So what really happens whenever you encounter something new is your brain measures it against something old that you've already experienced. It does not really remember the precise location things are, because that is very hard for us, but it does remember experiences and where do they sit relative to one another. And that leads us to the fact that your brain is actually awesome for doing this. Imagine you lived 10,000 years ago. You see a dangerous animal. You don't really care if it runs with 10 kilometers per hour or 20 or 50. You only care, does it run faster than me? If it runs slower than you, you can hunt it or run away. If it runs faster than you should steer clear away from that animal because it might be dangerous to you. This is the only thing that matters to our brains, and this is the thing that we're extremely good at finding. And because our brains have this awesome feature, humans are extremely good at adapting to new situations. Even without the details of any situation, with just a tiny bit of context, we can find out a lot about it. And we can adapt to that situation and survive. And that's what helps us thrive even today. So there is no need to feel bad about how your brain works. It's actually amazing. But there are some quirks of that behavior that you need to find a way to work around. Now let's work around the YouTube algorithm by you pressing the like button. Thanks! Anyway, you get the gist. Your brain works by comparison, and you're probably going to compare yourself with others from time to time. But how do you actually go about stopping that nasty habit? I'm glad you asked! Approach number 1 to stop comparing yourself to others. This one is probably the simplest one, and at the same time the most challenging. Take a break from social media. Crazy, right? If you mean crazy effective, you won't believe how amazing some you time feels. Some time dedicated to self-reflection without constantly looking at people who are seemingly constantly winning. A little bit of time to focus on you, your skills, your learning, and your mindset. Give it a shot and you'll be amazed at how easy it is to see how awesome you are. Approach number 2 to stop comparing yourself with others. Get some perspective. Get your phone and call your most popular friends. Ask them out for a coffee and chat with them for a little bit. Get the real story behind some of those epic Instagram pictures. You'll probably find a completely different side of that story. Maybe they waited in a traffic jam for 6 hours. Maybe they were so bored and that's why they made the pictures, just to have something to do, because the beach was otherwise empty. There are so many key aspects that social media skips, and you can find out by just talking to people. So talk to people, find out the real stories, build better friendships, and at the same time break that illusion that you're always constantly looking at. Approach number 3 to stop comparing yourself with others. Give the little voice in your head that compares you with other people a name. Naming something removes a lot of its power, so let's give it a name. Let's use this deck of cards. We use this deck of cards filled with random names. Trust me, there's only names here. So this is a full deck of cards and the only thing it has is names. So if we stop at a random name, oh wow, it says Greg. Yeah, you should trust me on that, but it says Greg. And that's an excellent name for your inner voice, because Greg sucks, remember? Now, for the sake of this exercise, let's name your inner voice Greg. And you need to realize Greg is kind of a dick. He's always going to belittle you and make sure that other people's effort look amazing compared to yours. But that's not the case. Greg is just that kind of a person. So keep Greg there, let him talk whatever he wants to talk, but don't listen to him. Keep him as a nice reference when you need some sort of a perspective or when you're feeling too proud of yourself for some reason, but don't listen to him 95% of the time. Let him just be background noise. Approach number 4 to stop comparing yourself with others. Celebrate your achievements and also keep a record. This is a two-part thing. First, celebrate your achievements. Any sort of life achievement you get, you want to celebrate. It doesn't have to be massive. Any small step that is a step towards your goals should be celebrated. The more of those celebrations you have, and the more memorable every one of those is, the more of them you will actually remember. And the more memories of awesome celebrations of your own successes that you have in your head, the easier it's going to be for you to go through your memories and say, hey, I actually achieved stuff. And this neatly brings us to the second part of this point. Keep a record. Write down all of your achievements. Get an actual notebook or a digital one like Notion and write down every single one of your achievements. This is important. Whenever you start feeling bad, pick that notebook and read it. You will realize, hey, I did a lot of things. I achieved things. I made progress. I am better now compared to me 5 years ago. And that would make you feel much better about yourself and motivate you to keep pushing forward. So yeah, make sure you celebrate your achievements and write them down. Approach number 5 to stop comparing yourself with others. Compare yourself with the only person you should ever compare with. You. Yes, this is a little bit of a cliche, but this is the correct mindset to work towards. What really counts in life is not really where you currently are. It is what kind of a progress you're making towards where you want to be. This progress is the only thing that really counts. And the most important common thing between you and every other epic person out there, they all got to where they are in the exact same way, step by step. So think about you yesterday and think of the smallest, easiest step you can take today so you can be 0.1% better compared to that person. Just that tiny bit. This is all that matters. After you think of that step, go and take it. And then Be happy about it. You made progress. You are a little bit better compared to yourself yesterday. And that's all you want to do in life. The only thing that you need to do to be successful is just do this over and over and over again. Continue doing this, and the only thing waiting for you in that journey is success. Anyway, those were the 5 approaches to stop comparing yourself with others. I hope they help. Now, go successfully press that like button and stay awesome.
Subscribe to Jordan and stay awesome.
Relative values instead of absolute values. It works by comparison. Do the dumbbell scene. I did not expect I would do this for a video, but here I am, lifting weights for a video. The world is weird. Oh, but yeah, this is all part of the actual video. Yeah, totally.